Welcome back, everyone. Some would say life as we know it now would be impossible to live without one simple word, the internet. It's called the information superhighway, a portal to the answer to any question that you need answered. And this morning we have Troy Parkins, who is the Vice President of Market Operations for Barrington Broadcasting. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning,
Troy.
It's
good to be here.
So early in the morning.
It is early. It is early.
And we're thrilled to have you because you know a lot about the internet. I mean, it's become this global force. You can't really live your daily life without it. So why has it become so important to everybody?
Well, everybody uses it. The internet has changed our life. Think about it, right? It's changed it in a multitude of different ways. Business. The internet alone has put industries out of business, right? Think about bookstores. I remember when I was growing up, there was a bookstore in every corner. Now you can't find a bookstore because the internet and Amazon put these bookstores out of business, right? You think of CDs, Sam Goody's, right? The internet, now you can download music online, you put it on your phone, your mobile device, and you're good to go.
And speaking of mobile devices, we have a lot of mobile devices here.
We do.
We've got the iPad, we've got phones, and we've also got computers. These are sort of our lifelines now.
It is. It is. People use them all the time. Mobile's very important. You're getting your news. You're getting your information through mobile. You're getting stuff on your iPad. You're listening to music, like I just said, right? Another business, newspapers. Now, you don't really see that many newspapers because people can get their information whenever they want on the web.
And we also had a graphic that we wanted to show you guys that basically shows why all of these social media sites, which we're going to get to in just a little bit, are so important in terms of the internet. You know, what exactly does the internet do for these? Why is it the lifeline to the social media sites?
Well, think of it this way. The internet has enabled the whole concept of the global village, right? Marshall McLuhan's concept back in the 60s of the global village, you've shrunk the world because of the internet. You can get information of what's going on in Syria immediately. You can get your news at your fingertips from all these different devices, from all these social media places like Facebook, Twitter. You could get your video served on YouTube. That's the news. That's how people are consuming the news these days.
So we're going to actually keep you around because in just a little bit we're going to talk about how these little mobile devices, how these computers and their apps really help us communicate with each other and also strangers on a daily basis. Thank you so much, Troy, and we're going to have you stick around to talk about that in just a little bit. We'll be right back. He's an expert on all things social media. He sort of schooled us on it already yesterday on YouTube, which is what we were talking about. But Troy, tell us about the social media sites and what makes them so important. You have some pretty good stats on these.
Sure. Everybody uses social media. Facebook, we all hear about Facebook. 900 million people are on Facebook. 450 million people use Facebook every single day. Twitter, 500 million people are on Twitter. They're sending 340 million tweets a day. So people are using these sites. You talked about YouTube. An hour of video is uploaded every second to YouTube. Isn't that amazing?
It is. And you know, Brianna, that's a lot of information that is being shared over the internet, so that brings up another good question.
Right, people put so much information about themselves online on these social media sites. How can people protect themselves and their identities and information? What can they do?
So I always tell people, if you don't want it out, don't put it up to begin with, right? If you don't want the picture of yourself dancing on the top of a bar and your future employer to see it, don't put it on Facebook. I tell people, be careful about what you post. You have to look at the privacy preferences on each social media site, right? What's Facebook? What's Twitter? Look at what those, learn them. And make sure that you have them set to what you want them to be.
And really important because Facebook went to the timeline, and you and I have talked about this a lot. So when they went to timeline, it brought up everything, and everybody could see everything you've done over the years.
Well, a lot of people are confused. They're confused. They don't understand the privacy preferences on Facebook. They get the wrong information from their friends. They think their posts are private, only going to their friends, but they're not. So I can't stress enough that you have to learn what your privacy preferences are for whatever application you're using. Foursquare allows people to know where you're at, where you're located. If you're checking into a location, they know where you are physically. So if you have a stalker, they're going to be able to know where you are if you don't have your privacy preferences set.
And Brianna, speaking of those friend requests, you know.
Yeah, how do you know who's requesting you? How do you know if they're safe? If you know them?
Well, that's another thing to think about with security. You have to know before you accept the friend request, who is this person? Do you know who they are? Did you confirm who they are? You have to be very careful about who you accept. I have friends who have thousands of Facebook friends, and they don't know who half of them are. Oh, I think I went to high school with that person. They don't know. That's bad security behavior.
Absolutely. So many great tips from Troy Parkins this morning. Thank you so much for being here with us.
It's good to be here.
Back to you, Mary.